Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella from Meeple University. Today we are excited to do a review of Gardeners. This game is designed by the designer of Magic Maze.
Yes, Kasper Lapp.
Thank you. So we are going to do an overview and then the review.
Yes, so you can instantly see from the rules that this is by the designer of Magic Maze. A very similar flavour. So what you will do in this game, you'll turn over this very large sand timer. It probably runs for 10 minutes or something like that. And one player draws one of these objective cards. And everyone can see from the back what sort of objective card it is, but only the player holding it can see what it says. So in this case, it would represent this colour of flower or tree. And it says that can't be by itself. It can only be next to other ones of that type. So I know what it is. Everyone else knows what type of objective it is. And then in true Magic Maze style, we silently use our stack of tiles to build up a 6x6 grid in real time. So I can place stuff down however I want. You also place stuff down.
At the same time?
Yep. And if I don't like what you have placed or what someone else has placed, I give this tile back to either the same player or, if we're playing it more than two, to another player. So it's basically, I'm saying I know there is something wrong with that placement. Please put it somewhere else. And meanwhile, we just continue to build up the 6x6 grid.
And there again, that flower, then you'll see it. So you have to build it yourself, and then you have to watch out what other people are doing.
In this case, maybe I wouldn't place it. See, now I know it's okay.
Because you saw that that's on the stack of my...
Yes.
Okay.
And so we'll just keep going like this. So let's just create a 6x6 grid quickly to get through this. Because ultimately at the start of the game, you want to build this up as quickly as you can.
Yep, and while the other player would try to deduce as well what you would think the secret objective is. So clearly you don't want me to put it there. When I put it there, it's okay. Okay, so it will be these flowers type of thing.
Yep, so once the 6x6 grid is complete, the players can stop and basically check with whoever is holding one of these whether the garden meets the objectives or not. If it does, then you move on. The next player in sequence draws one of these. In this case, it is a path. There has to be a continuous path of whatever is on this card from one side of the grid to another.
In this case?
In this case, it's little flowers of any colour. While the first objective is still in play. And you'll get to the point where there are 3 objectives simultaneously in play. And then after that, each time a new objective comes in, the old one is passed out and counts as a point.
So I'm just trying to do that, for example. Oops.
You can also only take tiles from the outside. So you've got to deconstruct out and then build back in.
Yes, this is flowers of any colours?
Flowers of any colours, yes. So we would go along those lines. And that's really how the game works. There's various different types of objectives. This one is a certain type of feature, must be only in the middle 16, can't be on the outer edge. You've got these 2 types of things cannot be next to each other. You've got, there must be a group of at least that many of that type of thing in a cluster. There's another path one, paths encircling things, another one. So, and a different specific pattern to make with 2 types of things. So that's the game. You'll play until the hourglass runs out. You score a point for each card that you've pushed out of the player's hands by essentially everyone from the 4th one on scores your point. And you are competing against the game to see how many points you can get.
Obviously, this is a real-time game. So as with, a lot of real-time games, that is slightly just have more than 3 rules. You have a scenario, like the training scenario, to try the different type of objectives and see how it goes, how the game plays, because I think this is where you kind of have to play it first to be able to see, oh, so that's how it plays, I think.
Yeah.
It's clearer to practice first before the actual game.
Yeah, and Magic Maze did the same thing. It built up from very basic scenarios until rather complicated ones. In this case, there's 3 or 4 training scenarios before you get into the game proper.
So what do you think?
Look, it's not bad. I think it is... Obviously, the instant thing to do is look back at Magic Maze and compare.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as strong a game as that.
In what sense?
I found it didn't have the hilarity and chaos of trying to escape a mall that Magic Maze had.
That's actually true.
That was one nice thing about that game. And, in the end, I didn't find it that difficult to deduce these.
Just for your information, by the way, Tarrant is really good at deduction. So you're about standard. That's what I think. I mean, totally about me, maybe a little bit about our gaming groups, some of our gaming groups. So for Tarrant, if it's like it's not too hard, maybe for others, for family, it's probably just enough. So this game, I feel like, is for family. Sorry to stop you there. Continue.
Maybe. I think the ones that got tricky, there was one where one of the objectives is benches has to face a certain type of thing. That one can be a little more difficult to puzzle out.
I think so, yeah.
But I don't know, once I was getting to the point of doing, I knew what I had to break out because I had a card that said these aren't valid. And every time someone tried something else, it was just like, no, place, no, place, no. And then it wasn't too hard to work out what was going on in the end.
Although it is a little bit more complex, just a tad more complex in higher player counts because you're going to have to watch out on what other people are doing at the same time, not just one other person, but multiple. And I found that, sorry, you go.
And you can hand the tiles to multiple different players as well. So.
Yes. So, and I found that the memory part, because you have to remember, right, when something was achieved, you still don't know exactly what it is, but you kind of guess what it is, and you have to remember that, because the next objective, when you're trying to meet it, you still need to meet the previous objectives. There's a maximum of, what was that, 3? Yeah, so you have to remember 3 different objectives. And sometimes in the heat of a moment, in real-time games, like, oh shoot, what was that? And that could be a bit of a chaos, which is, I'm not complaining about that, but it's part of things that needs a bit of a memory, which I'm a little bit not good at, but the chaos bit, I don't mind. Compared to Magic Maze, again, it's hard not to. It is, I agree with Tarrant, it doesn't have that hilarity of Dwarf trying to steal stuff and getting out of the shopping mall.
And having to wait on somebody to move to the right because you don't have that tile and you're like putting the do something marker in front of them. You don't have a do something marker here. Everything is a do something marker when you give them a tile. Yeah.
So I guess it is a bit more simpler than Magic Maze. Because Magic Maze, then you swap the direction as well, and that becomes more chaotic.
Yep.
And so this is more calming in a way, and it's still real time.
It is gardening. It's meant to be calming.
It is.
Gardening is a calming activity.
Not always. When there's like, oh, there's birds, like shoo shoo. Oh, my strawberry is rotten, not eaten. Eaten by the birds. Oh, we got the nuts. Anyways, and this is the theme that, well, I do gardening. As I say, I've got strawberry plants, I've got things. Obviously, I don't think this is very thematic. I mean, you put things on here, just...
You can uproot a tree very easily.
You won't actually want to look at the thematic side of it. You gardeners, you put in...
Well, your gardeners for the king.
Yes.
The king can tell you to rip that tree out and put it somewhere else. That's the king's prerogative.
The whole game, Tarrant would say.
What the rulebook told me to say. I forget what it is. It is meant to be thematic. His Majesty is angry is what you say if your objective is not met. And His Majesty is thrilled is what you say if...
You keep saying His Majesty is thrilled. Like, okay, yeah. It's like, I was not very thematic. I was like, okay, His Majesty is thrilled. And the way you say it...
His Majesty is thrilled.
Not like that. So yes, that's a thematic bit. But overall, it is a fun family game, and it's a bit less chaotic than Magic Maze. Anything else in the summary, Tarrant?
That's all from me.
Would you recommend this?
Biggest hourglass I've ever seen as
Would
well.
you recommend this game? This game plays 1 to 4 players, by the way. And is it replayable? I would say yes, but it would be like keep repeating what you're doing with different objectives. If you don't mind that. You're getting good and better and better at it.
Big stack of objectives.
Correct. All right, sorry. Keep going. In summary, Tarrant,
Yeah, that's all from me.
who would you recommend this game to? Family, I would think. Well, you know, it's a quite a fun filler, I would say, in game meetup, gaming group.
It could serve as an icebreaker.
Yes.
But
Without talking.
But a silent icebreaker. And that's always a challenging prospect. Because it's 10 minutes of silence, it kind of could work as an icebreaker, but I don't know. I would recommend Magic Maze.
Okay. Well, that's Gardeners. Hopefully you find this useful. Have you played Magic Maze? Magic Maze has got a few expansions as well, so I'm not too sure if this one will be. This one, I picked this from Essen. I would almost say Gen Con. I first found out about this at Gen Con 2022, and then I picked it up at Essen. So what do you think of this? Would you play this? Do you like Magic Maze? Let us know in the comments. And if you like, please let us know what you think and hit the like button. That will be really helpful to us. Subscribe to us if you haven't already done so. Hit the bell. You know, we do how to play, playthrough, short and sweet, live playthrough almost every weekend. I'm also on Instagram. Find me there, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.